Hey everybody, John the Other here, obviously. And as is usual for a Tuesday, I was in court again today. That is family court, this time in Port Coquitlam, attending for a client of the Lighthouse Project. And I'm going to say something in contrast and maybe even in opposition to what I was saying about family court yesterday. Because I want to talk about the family court troll. Now, you could think of the person I'm going to describe as a metaphorical troll, or you could think about the person I'm going to describe as an actual, literal person who I observed in action in the court today. So, we're sitting in the family court, and it's a Port Coquitlam Provincial Court house, which is kind of like a mall in the way it's organized. It's sort of unique in that respect, at least in my experience. And of course, it's a day in court where they're processing a lot of kind of administrative court business, where people are going in and getting scheduled dates in front of the judge and just processing not the full sessions of the court, but just very quick 5-minute business of the court, and a whole lot of people going through. And there was a female lawyer there who I'm going to call the family court troll, because she looked like a troll. She was short and fat and squat and quite profoundly ugly. I mean, she was not an attractive woman, and I cannot fault her for that. I'm just describing what I saw. And she was representing, in each case, a woman in a family court dispute. And I watched her turn matters that seemed already to be settled in previous sessions, turn them into chaotic and unsettled matters that would require further sessions in the court. Where people had agreed, she would turn agreement into disagreement. Where people were not in conflict, she would inject conflict. Where accusations had been previously settled, she would bring them back up. And she spoke in a very chaotic and staccato fashion, and that's the best I can do to describe her manner of speech. I'm not going to try to emulate it. And was there servicing a whole lot of different women, in every single case women, who she introduced as representing the mother with this great sanctimonious and virtuous intake of air. And we watched, waiting until it was our client's turn to go up, to have his lawyer go up. And after each injection of chaos and strife into matters that were previously settled, she'd go off to the side to where she had her, court binders and stuff, and she'd have this weird, satisfied kind of smile. And in one case, she actually threw her head back and laughed. I'm not exaggerating. She actually, after injecting chaos and strife into what appeared a previously settled matter between two disputing separated, divorced parties, she laughed, looked at the ceiling of the courthouse and laughed. And it's my hypothesis that this is a woman who throughout her adolescence, in high school probably, was scorned and maybe picked on because she was short and fat and ugly. And so now, as an adult with a law degree, she was having her revenge on every man, every boy from high school who had ever scorned her. She was going to exact her revenge on them. And what she was doing was, I would call it algorithmic. It wasn't sensible. It wasn't pursuing justice or pursuing an existing grievance. It was simply the injection of strife and the injection of chaos into people trying to make order out of their divorces and separations and child custody arrangements. Of course, this all has a cost on the kids, doesn't it? I mean, when your parents are in strife and they're fighting over you, that has a profound cost on children. And it's a long-lasting cost. And this, you may think this is a hypothetical person. You may think this is an apocryphal troll of the family court. But I would hazard a guess that and she's a lawyer too, that a lawyer like this inhabits every family court, or maybe more than one. And the court tolerates her because what she's doing is within the law. It is an algorithmic suite of behavior from her that keeps her in the court, keeps her employed, and keeps injecting strife and conflict and chaos into people's relationships. So how does this stand beside all the advice I gave yesterday? Well, it stands very well. For men going into the family court, I said how men can win is to not allow yourself to react to this troll of the family court, whichever family court you happen to end up in. Do not allow her to push you into emotionally reactive behavior. Because what the court cares about, and I said yesterday, the children, what they really care about is facts. Dry, unemotional, unambiguous facts that have evidence, particularly documentary evidence, such as proof of payment of child support, or proof of psychological well-being in the form of a psychological evaluation. They care only about facts, not about emotion. But this troll injects emotion in the form of strife and anger and resentment and conflict. And this algorithm of behavior works in the court. It's up to you, if you end up there, not to let those paddles spin you around emotionally either. Okay, now, a lot of people yesterday were fairly negatively critical about my advice to fathers going through the family court yesterday, saying, no, John, you're an idiot. You're delusional, or you're telling men they need to go suck the throbbing member belonging to the state. And I say, no such thing. No. Obviously, if you possibly can, you want to stay out of the family court, which means you probably want to stay out of marriage and romantic relationships. But a lot of guys don't discover this until after it's too late, after they have kids. And to be honest, addressing some of the commenters who were saying, to hell with it all, walk away from it, walk away from your kids, let it all burn. It's not exactly realistic advice to tell men to walk away from their children and leave them in the clutches of psychologically dysfunctional ex-partners. That's just not real life advice. It sounds good in a comments thread and it makes you feel good to type it, but in the real world, people care about their children. But feel free to pile on in the comments thread of this video as well. And thanks very much for watching, and as always, have a lovely day. And by the way, if you'd like to help support the Lighthouse Project, which helps address false accusations and increasingly the grinding machine of the family court for fathers, you can help support us by clicking on the links below to our Patreon or our PayPal page. Thanks a lot, and have a lovely day.